Well, here in the United States, we're mourning and celebrating the life and the death of our 41st president, George H.W. Bush. I had the great privilege of serving under Vice President and President Bush in the Army Reserves. I got to meet him one time. He was speaking at the Olathe Naval Air Station in Olathe, Kansas, just outside of Kansas City. And my Army band and I played for that. We played some music while people were coming in for 45 minutes or so. Then we played ruffles and flourishes when Hail to the Chief, you know, when he came in, that type of thing. And he came by the band, and I got to shake hands with him and say hello. And obviously, he did that every day with probably hundreds of thousands of people over the course of his long and distinguished career. I just remember him being a good, decent man, and a man full of grace. I hadn't given that much thought until I started seeing some video clips of his life since he passed away a couple of days ago. And the way he graciously interacted with people, even very harsh newsmen who would interrupt him over and over again, even while he was vice president and president, and not talk about things that they had agreed to talk to him about beforehand, changing the subject and that kind of thing. You know, they do that with all presidents pretty much. But I just saw how gracious he was with them. And then, of course, later in life, seeing how very gracious he was with his wife as she was getting older and then died a few months before him, and how gracious he was with people that he had been on the other side of the political fence with, you know, like President Clinton and lots of other people. They, as I understand it, actually became friends. So much is being said about former President Bush that there's nothing that I could say that no need for me to repeat those things, just except for my personal memories of serving under him and him being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, which I was a part of for 24 years. I guess I served under him for 12 years because he was vice president for 8 years and president for 4 years. And all of that time, I was the commander of the 312th Army Reserve Band. Now, a lot of times at funerals, they play Amazing Grace, as I just did. And I also, when I started out in the National Guard in 1970, in Kansas, as a trumpet player, I was, after basic training, I was first stationed at Fort Leavenworth. And there's a huge national cemetery there. And the trumpet players in the band there were assigned, part of our duty was to play taps at funerals for people who were being buried in that military cemetery and that national cemetery. So I got to do that lots and lots of different times, and I've done it since on a lot of different occasions. While I'm not playing trumpet anymore, I would like to finish this little dedication to President Bush by playing taps for him on my trombone.